Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope everybody's doing great. So, today we have a very, very special guest on the Globally Connected podcast. We have Jidenna, who is the co founder and project manager, as well as dual function role of head of marketing at Tech Unite Africa. So, we're really, really happy to partner with Tech Unite Africa on the consulting side of our business. Tech Unite Africa is Africa's biggest networking platform, so it brings together global tech companies in Nigeria, also virtually as well. And the conference discusses many emerging fields like AI, blockchain, fintech, cybersecurity, IoT. So we just worked with Tech Unite Africa on the last conference, and it was such an amazing turnout. So, guys, if you're looking for a great event in Africa, be sure to check out the next edition. Without further ado, we'll get started.
Yeah, thank you, Gigi and Jerome for having us. Thank you very much. Well, my name is Jidenna, the co-founder and the project management manager for Tech Unite Africa. Also, oversee the marketing for Tech Unite Africa as well. And it's really a pleasure to be here and to look at some of the things that we're doing across Africa. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so we want to thank you for that introduction. So let's go right into it. Can you tell us about Tech Unite Africa and how it all started?
Well, as we travel around the world and as we engage with things that are happening around the world, we kind of observe that Africa, that technology is the more like the bedrock of the Western civilization, and that no matter how you try to, no matter what you do to develop any society, there has to be an infusion of technology. And we found out that for technology to grow, there has to be that convocation, that conference of conversation where people can get together to talk about what is really important about technology. And also, and as you do that, you also find out that there's an opportunity there's a lot of skill gap that is lacking, in the technology space in Africa. So we created Tech United Africa to create a platform for the conversations, the very important conversations to be had, you know, uh, for the networking, for the tech community to meet, to converse, to discuss, and to look at the various ways that we can move technology forward in Africa. So and also more importantly, also an opportunity because there's also the business angle of technology, which is the business, which is why we always team our events tech business nexus. So the opportunity for the technology uh, providers, the technology manufacturers, the technology innovators to have a platform to meet with the business community so that they can connect. So tech meets business. So that's basically the underlying idea and philosophy behind Tech United Africa.
Nice. And for the audience, when did you all start Tech Unite Africa? And it is based in Lagos, Nigeria, correct?
Yeah, Tech United Africa is based in Lagos, Nigeria, and we started Tech United Africa. It's always the idea has always been there. We've had several programs that we've had over the couple of years, over the past 7 years. But our first major conference that is tagged Tech United Africa held in 2022. Yeah,
Mm.
2022. So that was our first convocation, first conference that we had in 2022. So, but prior to that, TechNet Africa has been in existence. It's been, having a lot of trainings in different sectors of technology.
Nice. So when you guys were starting Tech Unit Africa, did you all experience any drawbacks from anyone or anything? And if so, how did you all overcome them to ultimately bring Tech Unit Africa to life?
Of course, like in most ventures, the operating environment is always a consideration, is always a factor. And so some of the challenges we faced was, getting the right kind of support from the African governments, and creating that sensitization and awareness that, listen, there's a need. I mean, look at Africa, basically West Africa generally. You see that West Africa has one of the youngest populations in the world. You're talking about over 70% of the population being under 45. So that's a very large young population, very massive. So we kind of, had to get the support of the government. But so that was one problem, that challenge we faced, getting the support of the stakeholders, then also getting the support of the private sector funding organizations for Africa was a bit of a challenge. But I would say that in the midst of all of that, we persevered and we've been able to innovate, and we will continue to grow. And as it's, because of that function, that resilience of that kept us going, we found out that the support, we're now getting the audience that we sought in the past. We're getting organizations like the local content management organization in Nigeria. We're getting the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology. We're getting ministries across Africa that has to do with technology engaging, because they now understand that the the ushering of emerging technologies in Africa is not something that can be put to the background. It has to be at the front burner. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's the beautiful thing about Tech Unite Africa is you guys have put in the work to build that foundation for people to come in and to network and to also build partnerships with each other. So that moves on to kind of the next question and topic. How can people build partnerships when building projects in Africa? And how can Tech Unite Africa help them find the right partnerships?
Okay, excellent. So Africa is, like they always say, EME, emerging markets. So there's always opportunity, and you find that usually when something has already happened in the West, okay, when a product has been developed in the United States, in Europe, in China, in Australia, you find out that the next place, the next location for that product is Africa. So Africa is like the wetlands, for agriculture, so to speak. It's like the wetland for technology, where um, everybody, Africa is the future. Because I mean, look at the population of Japan, for example. Japan has an aging population. Okay, China just began to rejuvenate their population recently with the new policies there, but Africa, it's ripe and full of young people, vibrant workforce. So I'll say that uh, the the opportunities are here, and we at Tech Unite Africa, we are connected across Africa. Okay, we have the networking, we have the connections, we have the relationships, the necessary relationships for brands that are looking at coming into Africa. You see, because first of all, we understand the terrain. This is our terrain. We understand how business is done. We understand the policy. We understand the infrastructural challenges and how to manage it. So we are so Africa is open, and we are on ground, to partner with any organization that is looking at bringing products, technology, training, partnership, even infrastructure, or and also an opportunity. We can also actually, provide access to the policymakers, to the government. So Tech United Africa, we are basically on ground in Africa to provide uh, assistance, partnership to any organization that is looking at bringing technology or new business to the African community, business community.
You mentioned something very interesting that I would like for you to highlight. You mentioned that you guys at Tech Unite Africa is connected to basically the entire continent of Africa. If I'm incorrect, please correct me. But I'm curious to know, how were you guys able to connect with the entire continent of Africa? Because obviously, with doing such a thing is that I'm sure you're going to have a lot of differences, drawbacks, and people not being on the same page. So how was you all able to do such a monumental thing? To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's which is why we said, you know, trade networking, just it's about networking, because at the end of the day, don't forget, tech business nexus, okay? Technology meets business. So we've created a platform for networking. So because it's an Afrocentric platform, often over the past couple of editions of the event, we've had organizations, prospects, partners, government agency come from across Africa, from South Africa, all the way from South Africa to Cairo, from north to South Africa. We have also have people come from Kenya. So, and we also go for invitations. We also invited to some of these events. So we travel. So we get to meet. So I think over that period of time, we've been able to have these relationships established. So, for example, somebody wants to do something in Ghana, or somebody wants to get information or get partnership, or whatever it is in like Benin Republic or in Kenya or in maybe in what was it called, Mauritania. You know, we could leverage the relationships that we already have, you know, and be able to get the information and also get the necessary uh, fine details of what it takes to do business, and also probably make an introductory meeting, provide an access to an introductory meeting with the stakeholders. So that's what we mean, that we have that access to the African market. That's one of the advantages of what we do, the networking aspect of our business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely saw that at the previous conference as well. Like there was people from everywhere, from all around the world coming
Yeah.
together in Nigeria to collaborate and share knowledge on various different topics. So you could see the impact that it left on the youth as well and on the older generation as well to learn these new concepts. So I love that you guys also involve university students to come and learn because it is very important for the future of Africa and the future of the world for the youth to know about these things within AI, within the blockchain, within cybersecurity, and have these skills for the next workforce. So what would you say from previous events, something that was like a core success story that you recall on that you feel left an impact on the people that attended?
Yeah, there are a lot of things. So there are quite a number of things, but I think it's the access to information that we provide. Because a lot of young people, like, you get that excitement when people like, oh, I didn't know that this that somebody could. I didn't know that blockchain could do this. I didn't know that AI, and robotics. There's an opportunity for us to learn and have a career path in this. We get that a lot. Then we also have people who come in, like, had some gentlemen coming from the United States at the last edition, a couple of them, and they were like, wow, they didn't know that there is such a vibrant ecosystem of young tech entrepreneurs in Africa. And but I think the one that strikes the chord the most, it's the networking opportunity that we provide, I think, through our partnership with the Startup World Cup. Okay, the Startup World Cup, Startup World Cup, the global startup event. Uh, so we host the Startup World Cup Lagos Regional. So we partner with our partner, the Startup World Cup, Pegasus Tech Ventures in the United States, to host the Lagos edition of the Startup World Cup. I think so that brings in a number of investors for who are looking at the tech community. So who are looking at the best, the latest, and the brightest minds in Africa, looking at the newest products that could revolutionize different sector, AI, blockchain, agriculture. So I think that's one that comes to mind most. That partnership that allows African entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, neophyte entrepreneurs to have access to a pool of investors. And also, I think the winner of the last year was in San Francisco to pitch. The winner, he won at the company that won at the last edition of Tech United Africa. It was in San Francisco to pitch alongside over 100 other winners from across the world for the Startup World Cup finals, grand finale in San Francisco. And this year, again, the winner from the Startup World Cup 2025 edition, right, is going to be in San Francisco again for, I think, around October to pitch and to engage. So I think that's a tremendous opportunity. That's a very remarkable, activity that we will bring to bear. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Startup World Cup was very, very cool. And it really gives like the youth a chance to spotlight what they're working on and show the world the innovation that's coming out of Africa. So it's really great. We're all aware of the opportunities in Africa, but for some of the viewers, how would you describe like the investment opportunities in Africa to them? As in, why should they decide to invest in Africa?
Well, you see, most of the challenges that you have uh, in the West, like Africa is like China 40 years ago. Okay, so Africa is like China 40 years ago. Imagine China 40 years ago, before Xi Jinping, the premier of China, or imagine Africa like Singapore 40 years ago, 30 years ago. So Africa is ripe. Okay, so if there's an innovative product out there, most of the markets are saturated. Okay, so if you're going to compete in the United States, if you're going to compete in California, New York, Atlanta, you're going to compete. You're probably going to be competing with already established markets, with products that have already gained market strength. Okay, and if you're going to compete elsewhere, it's probably the same. But in Africa, if you bring that opportunity, that product to Africa, you'd find out that there is a niche, there is an opportunity, there is a space for you because the population is expanding. For example, let's look at the handheld devices market. Okay, we're talking about mobile phones. There are like 40 million young people who are going to be leaving what we call secondary schools, high school in Nigeria in the next 4 years. And the first thing they will do is to buy a mobile phone. So the Chinese companies are cashing out. Okay, they're making a lot of money. They are everywhere. See, because those kind of phones, they probably not be able to sell them in New York. They'll probably not be able to sell them in Europe. But because you have a vibrant market hungry for the most available, the cheapest, and the any opportunity to own a handheld device. So you find out that the market is, I'm just using the handheld device market as an example. See, the market is expanding, is growing. So it's like that. That is also reflective in other sectors. Okay, so there is a hunger in Africa for new products, new opportunities, new innovation. So that's what I'd say, that Africa is the next location. If you're not doing business in Africa, you're probably you're probably not thinking about the future too much. You see, so there's less competition and there is an expanding market that just keeps growing. And we can make a projection for you that using the handheld device, for example, that in the next 5 years, you could be able to sell in West Africa alone. You'll be able to sell 200 million handheld devices every month, just in West Africa, 200 million pieces every month. That's how big the sector is. So just use that to look at other sectors and see what we mean in terms of the opportunities that is available in Africa. You know.
That's very incredible. So I have a two-part question to follow up. So the first question is, for anyone who hasn't been to the continent of Africa, why should they come to the continent of Africa? Because obviously they're on the outside looking in. So what is attracting about the continent of Africa for them to come? That's the first question. The second question is, what gaps, if any, still exist from your perspective in the continent of Africa, and how is Tech Unite Africa helping to bridge those gaps?
Okay, so yeah, thank you for the question. To if you're talking about why should they come to the continent of Africa, I would say that first of all, it's the population, the young, vibrant population, okay, that are hungry for technology. So that creates an opportunity, you know. When you have a very, very young population, very, very young population of very young people, it creates that, it's a vibrant community, a vibrant population that are looking for the next big thing. Just look at the fintech markets, for example. Okay, the fintech market, Nigerian fintech market, for example, okay, is like the Kenya, Nigeria, Cairo, South Africa, okay, South Africa, yeah, those few. You find that the fintech market is expanding. Why? Because most Africans prefer the fintech market. Why? Because as they acquire a handheld device, right, they prefer to do business, to do transactions with their handheld device as opposed to traditional banking. So you have players like Palmpay, you have players like OPay, you have players like Flutterwave, you have players like MoneyPoint. There are so many of them, and they are doing well. Okay, and don't forget the capital that is funding this is not, most of the time it's not African capital. It's capital from Wall Street. Okay, capital from, from London, from, so yes, the because of the vibrant nature, the young population, that African young population, you see, because the urbanization is continuing. There's a continued drive. People are moving from the rural areas. Everybody wants to live in the city. And the moment they make that transition from the rural area to the cities, they will need the latest technology to be able to, vibe up, so to speak, with their well, I say colleagues, So that is a major, the population, the young population, and their drive and their hunger for the latest technology. It's not something that should be overlooked. So that's a major drive. Then also, I think you also have to look at it that wherever there's infrastructural challenges in Africa, without a question. But you find that those infrastructural challenges are also opportunities. Okay, for example, transportation in Africa is a problem. Power, there's opportunity there. uh, Healthcare, there's opportunity there because these challenges exist. Okay, so if you have the capacity to provide the solution, and at least make it affordable, because you have to make it affordable. Because one of the things you do in Africa is you create a product that fits your market, that's a bit affordable. Once your product is accessible, is affordable, and it solves a major problem, you'll be amazed at the growth, the level of growth, that is the speed of growth and assimilation that you'll get in Africa. So that's a major. Then the second question, could you highlight the second question?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what gaps, if any, still exist in the continent of Africa, or let's say in Lagos, Nigeria, to be specific? What gaps still exist, and how is Tech Unite Africa helping to bridge those gaps?
Okay, excellent. So there is a lot of gaps in healthcare insurance, healthcare insurance. There's also gap in transportation. There is gap in agriculture, food production. There's also gap in logistics. Different. It's like new entrants, new entries are coming into the market to solve this problem, but it's just not enough. You see, because as for example, as people find out that, oh, it's possible for me to order lunch from a company or a restaurant in about 40 kilometers away, and get it delivered through Glovo, for example, one of the new startups, Glovo, and I get it delivered in less than 20 minutes. And people just embrace it because it solves the problem of logistics and food. Then also you find, okay, people find that, oh, now there is healthcare. I don't have to go to the hospital to see a doctor. I could just bring out my mobile app and just kind of subscribe to a healthcare platform. But those are some of the opportunities that are available. And so for us in Tech United Africa, what we do is we try to bring the players together, the players and the business community together so that they can share ideas. And also for the product developers, the users of the product can have a better experience. Then also for the investors and the players to come together to look at, okay, what are the challenges? Why are we not getting as much investment? So it's more like information share, knowledge gain. That's what we provide. And also most importantly, that networking opportunity for products that have not been. You could have a new product. You're doing marketing, but there's nothing like a face-to-face meeting where uh, you're in a conference, Tech United Africa conference, and you go around the exhibition stands and you see a product that solves a particular problem that you didn't know was available. So those are the kind of solutions what we do at Tech United Africa, provide that networking opportunities for everybody in the tech ecosystem to meet.
Yeah. No, that's amazing, Jadina, and definitely agreed. You guys provide a great platform for that collaborative environment. And going back to what you were saying about like the gaps that exist, but also the opportunity for solutions that that creates, is very important because I think that's like probably one of the things that makes Africa such an incredible and attractive market is this concept of leapfrogging. Like we're able to skip many of the traditional stages of development and go into these advanced solutions, just like you were talking about with the mobile phones adoption. That's because we were able to skip building a huge landline infrastructure all throughout Africa and actually able to go to the more advanced technology first. So
Yeah,
leaves a lot of opportunities as well to actually
yeah,
solve today's problems with future solutions. Um,
exactly.
yeah, so really love what you guys are doing. And I'd love to let the audience know how they can connect with Tech Unite Africa, how they can stay updated with what you guys are doing so they can contribute as well to Africa's growth and development.
Yeah, okay, so that's great. So for us at Tech United Africa, our websites www.techunitedafrica.com. Currently, we are rebranding the website, so probably will be live in a couple of days as we're introducing new features to the sites. And also, you can also visit our other site www.tuaevents.org to see some of the events that we have planned up for the rest of the year and for next year. So that's one of the ways and also across our social platforms, see what we've done, what we're doing, and what we're planning to do. So that's one way to get in touch with us.
Amazing. Jerome, do you have some follow-up questions?
Yeah, I do relating to Tech Union Africa. First and foremost, I just want to ask you guys, what stage would you say Tech Union Africa is currently at? And then what's on the horizon for Tech Union Africa the rest of this year and beyond?
Yeah, well, we say we are at the preliminary stages. Why do I say that? Because the opportunities just keeps increasing. So we are the we're not at the nascent stage of development, but we are adolescents, maybe teenager. I don't know, consider we are just at that, preliminary, late preliminary stage, if that makes any sense. But I think the illustration of age, adolescence, and that's where I'd say we are. Then for us, we're looking at the rest of Africa, basically. Okay, uh, we have events planned for for South Africa. We have events planned for Ghana. We have events planned for Kenya and across other places in Africa because when we have meetings with some of our prospects, okay, we get invitations to come. Okay, we like what you're doing. We like to have this training, technology training here, and we like you to come over. So for us, it's more like expanding into more African countries, to do what we do best, provide these opportunities for young Africans. And also for the Startup World Cup, we also have some of the cities in Africa. So we have Startup World Cup Lagos Regional. So we're also looking at Startup World Cup, a couple of other places. So it's all in the works, but in a couple of coming weeks, we'll unveil our plans for some of the cities in Africa. But yes, our eyes are set on Africa, across Africa. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Before we get out of here, we want to do something a little fun. So, who's an African startup or founder that you admire?
There are a lot of them. Okay, there is Ijinioluwa. Okay, Aboyeji. I think he's the founder of Andela, co-founder of Flutterwave.
Hmm.
He's doing very well, and he's been an inspiration. Inspiring younger startup founders across Africa. Then I think Tosin, and I think Tosin and Fred, the founders of Money Point, excellent. They are doing very well. Then what's her name again? I've forgotten the founders of PiggyVest. This is a saving platform. I'll try and recollect her name. PiggyVest doing very exceptionally well. Then there's this Echero, Chinedu Echero, that was hotspot.com. They had probably had an investment from Apple about $1 billion. There's so many of them, so many. The startup ecosystem in Lagos, in Nigeria, in Africa, basically is just mind blowing. It's like the young people are on fire. People are just innovating. Then I also like to appreciate ALX, ALX Africa, because they've been. I'm a grad. I participate in ALX programs, so there's a lot of uh, training opportunities at ALX. Some of the graduates of ALX software engineering program, across Africa, they are really doing amazing things. So there's a number of them, but these are the ones that come to mind at the moment. So quite a number of them. Yeah.
Nice. And if you can use three words or adjectives to describe Tech Unite Africa, what would they be?
There's so many words, but you said three.
Uh,
Okay.
we do five. Give
Five.
me.
Okay. Innovation, networking, business. Then you have startup.
Mhm.
Then you have, I think most importantly, you have problem solving. I think
Nice.
these are some of the few words that just come to mind. Yeah.
Nice. Those are all nice. We thank you for sharing that. And before we get out of here, any last messages that you would like to share to the audience on how to connect, how they could get involved or support Tech Unite Africa? Because you guys are doing some amazing things, and I can see the future for you all, and we are glad to be a part of that. But yeah, any lasting thoughts, comments, etc. before we get out of here?
Okay, excellent. We are currently in the market for investment partnerships. So we're looking for partners, investment partners. We're looking at expanding our operations across Africa. So we're in the market for investors, for partners, for collaborations. So what all type of collaborations? Yeah. So we're looking out for like-minded organizations, individuals who would like to do business, who would like to partner with us in different ways, and we're open to have these conversations. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yep. So we're really looking forward to the next TUA event and continuing our work with you. And thank you so much for all the insights and knowledge that you have shared about Africa, the opportunities that exist, and the amazing work that Tech Unite Africa is doing.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you guys. And also, I'd like to thank you guys for the work you're doing, and the partnership we had, your support, and all that you did, and the opportunity to engage with the audience at the last edition. So we also say a big thank you, and we look forward to continue the partnerships as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely no problem. We enjoyed it, and let's continue connecting the globe together. So, thank you all for tuning in to another episode. We hope you enjoy it, and that's a wrap on the Globally Connected podcast.